Go, Brandon.
Well, guys, it looks like the black supremacist subway shooter in New York City has been captured. The mayor of New York, Eric Adams, who was in hiding the whole time because he had COVID, seemed to be bragging a little bit by saying, "My fellow New Yorkers, we got him." No, you didn't get him. You arrested him, but you didn't get him. It was a Crime Stoppers tip that got him. And then the tip said that he was at a McDonald's, and they went to the McDonald's and he was not there, and then law enforcement found him wandering around the street. My point being that it was not law enforcement who tracked this man down. It was not law enforcement who broke this wide open. It was not law enforcement who located him. Law enforcement had to be told where it was. Now, I'm not saying law enforcement is inept. What I'm saying is to take credit for the public fixing your problem for you is a little bit short-sighted, pathetic, and kind of shallow. This guy is trying to stand on a hill and brag like he did something. He did nothing other than they dispatched people to a place where somebody else found him way far away from where the subway was, meaning that you had been saying all this time New Yorkers were not in any kind of danger, the subways were safe to travel on, and all that good stuff, when that was not true. That was a lie. This man was lying to New Yorkers while he was safely protected. He was lying to New Yorkers, telling you that you were safe, when he really didn't care because he was perfectly safe and protected. In fact, because the ramblings of Frank James on his very racist black supremacist YouTube channel, because those ramblings were so bad, and some of them actually mentioned Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, they had additional security on Eric Adams. My question is, Eric Adams got additional security because of what was said on this racist on YouTube page, but this man also ranted and raved about homeless people, some women, obviously white people. How come nobody else received any kind of protection? Clearly, the homeless people in New York were in way more danger than Eric Adams was, because Eric Adams was hidden in his basement because he was secluding himself because of the deadly China virus. So this man got additional protection, even though he was already protected. Yet the people of New York were not only did they get no additional protection, but they were lied to and told that the streets were safe, knowing full well that the same guy who had shot 10 people was still on the loose. Can you people not see where everyone is just being played? These people are lying to your face and putting you at direct risk when they are not doing their jobs. Why am I so angry about it? And why am I so adamant that the police are not the ones who caught Frank James? Because they had all this money invested in a security system, camera system. The system was so broken and so broken down that not one image of Frank James came from this elaborate, expensive subway system that you people were all taxed for in the city of New York. You know where they got the picture of Frank James from? Cell phone video from subway riders. That's where they got it from. Otherwise, you would not know what Frank James looked like. And nothing they did other than responding to a Crime Stoppers call got Frank James captured. But you know what I still can't seem to wrap my head around? The very fact that this man went through all of this trouble on his black supremacist rants on YouTube, on his planning of killing people who were not black. He did all this, yet somehow he left the keys to his U-Haul van at the crime scene. He left his 9mm Glock at the crime scene, which, by the way, Eric Adams, who supposedly is former law enforcement, called this a fully automatic weapon. When a former law enforcement officer who becomes mayor and claims to be the law enforcement mayor makes the claim about a clearly semi-automatic firearm and calls it a fully automatic firearm, he's either stupid or he's lying to you. Those are the only two options here. But they also found consumer-grade fireworks, his credit card. I don't understand how all these things get left at a crime scene from a guy who tried to painstakingly plan out this crime to not get caught, to do whatever he could to not get caught. Now, the firearm also, to show you how well gun control works in the state of New York and the city of New York City, This firearm was illegally carried by Mr. James in New York City, but was legally purchased elsewhere. So there was no ghost gun. There was no theft of a gun. This was a person who carried a perfectly legal firearm into a state where it was not legal. Now, how would any gun law prevent that? Because you had a gun law in place already that said that was illegal, and it was completely disregarded by Frank James. New laws and additional laws clearly and obviously and evidently in this case would have done nothing. Nothing you would have said or done would have prevented this man from using the gun that he already had to go shoot people that he hated. Another thing that I feel like I need to mention is the fact that the media danced so far away from the fact that this was a black man because they didn't want to offend anybody or hurt anyone's feelings. When you're in law enforcement, you take every bit of evidence you can to try to identify who a suspect is to get him off the street. Whenever they were saying that this was just a man, that he was heavy set, they said he was 5'5". Frank James is 6'2". So you had people looking for a really sharp man, which 5'5" is pretty sharp for a man. You had people looking for a 5'5" man of any color who was a little chunky. They were not looking for a black man. You know what? They might have found this guy sooner had everyone in the media got off of their little social justice horse and said this was a black man and he was a little chunky, instead of trying to narrow down just his height and disregarding his race. If you're looking for a car, when they said that he was in a U-Haul van, did they just say it was a van? And somebody said, what kind of van? I really can't say. It was a van. What color was it? It was a van. It was a long van. It was a tall van. Do you know what color it was? It was a long van. It looked heavy. Was it white? Did it have U-Haul on the side? Ooh, you know, it was a long van. It was a heavy, long van. No, they tell you what color it is. Stop trying to tiptoe around people's feelings when it comes to endangering the lives of other people and other people that you love, care for, and your brothers and your neighbors in the exact same city where you are. Stop doing that. You are endangering the lives of people based on your own little feelings. Mayor Adams also said that officials are considering the use of state-of-the-art metal detectors in the city's subway system moving forward. Why in the world would you do that? In fact, people of New York, why would you ever approve that? You have state-of-the-art cameras in the subway system that did not work and did nothing to help. You got taxed for that, you paid for that, and it did nothing, did not help you. It did not protect you. You were no safer as a result of it. It was simply a prop that was in the subway to make you feel better about yourself. How do you think, and why would you think, that metal detectors that now, because they have a reason to ask more money, why would suddenly that work? And how would that prevent the next Frank James from doing the exact same thing that just happened? Do not let your mayor lie to you and get more money out of your pockets. This is how they justify wasteful spending that still does nothing to protect you and I.
Let's go, Brandon.